Welcome to Grid Live Pre-Race. Joe Samaniego here, Cody Lambeth from the Podium Finish, and Adam Lemeries. We're going to be discussing Formula One, NASCAR, World Rally Championship update, and of course, IndyCar, Indy 500 qualifying will be underway today. First day, and then of course tomorrow, Fast Night and Bump Day. A lot to talk about. We'll start off with Formula One's crown jewel event of the year, the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yes, Formula One's crown jewel event is the Monaco Grand Prix, and not since the year 1996 has the winner come back from fourth place or further to win the race, and that was Olivier Panis from 14. Looking at the top three from qualifying, Ferrari, Charles Leclerc took a shock pole over Max Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas, the Red Bull, and the Mercedes, but Leclerc secured the lead after crashing out, ending the qualifying session. He'll keep the pole unless he has to make a gearbox change. And Carlos Sainz is teammate in the other Ferrari starting forward. I think a lot of people were caught off by surprise with Ferrari's form this weekend on the streets of Monte Carlo. And here's my first question to kick things off today. Will the winner be coming from the top three starters or further back?
For me, I believe it will. For me, the winner of the Monaco Grand Prix will come from the first three positions. It's very hard to pass on the streets of Monte Carlo in Monaco. So I think yes, you will see the winner of the Monaco Grand Prix come from the top three starting positions tomorrow.
The big thing when it comes to Monaco, those front row starting spots is the big key to getting that win. Big thing, of course, if we're going to look at the top four, if we see Charles Leclerc change the gearbox, lose five positions in the grid, still got a little bit of a chance being fifth, but it really opens the door for Carlos Sainz. And of course, Bottas will be up there. He's going to race his hardest to get that win. And of course, that'll be a big benefit for Mercedes, especially with Lewis Hamilton not being in there. So I do believe the winner will come from the first three positions. And that includes if Leclerc has that penalty. I would encourage everyone in the chat room, who do you think is going to win the Monaco Grand Prix?
Yes, Joe. I do think that typical history is going to show up, and we're going to see a winner come from the top three positions. We all know it in Formula One, it's so hard to overtake on the streets of Monte Carlo. So qualifying is really key, and I'm not really sure what's the biggest surprise here. Ferrari taking pole position, Carlos Sainz in fourth, or Lewis Hamilton starting seventh. I'm sure a lot of people did not see that happening. Nobody has won the race from seventh starting position. Lewis Hamilton does have a 14-point championship lead over Max Verstappen entering the Monaco round. If Max wins, Lewis needs to finish fourth or better to keep the championship lead. If Max gets the fastest lap and gets a point for it to tie in the championship standings, is this Max Verstappen's best opportunity to lead with the points lead?
Yes, this is the best opportunity for Max Verstappen to leave with the points lead. And even if he doesn't have the points lead, say if we see Lewis Hamilton finish fourth or even get somehow a podium third, he'll be lucky if he gets second place. But, Mercedes is going to be working on a strategy to get him up there somehow. But anyways, if Max Verstappen leaves there with the lead or wins the Monaco Grand Prix, momentum is on his side. Yes, he'll still be down one win. Lewis 3 wins, Max 2 wins, if that happens. But the big thing I see, he has momentum going forward. He's going to bring the fight to the Mercedes, and I think it's going to be really key for that.
I completely agree with you, Joe. If Max Verstappen does win tomorrow and takes the points lead, he will have a lot. He'll have a lot of momentum from this race. I believe that Max Verstappen is a good, solid pick to win the Monaco Grand Prix tomorrow.
Yes, definitely. Max Verstappen is a great pick to win the Monaco Grand Prix tomorrow. And we definitely encourage all of our viewers in the chat room for pick a winner later on in the show. Please let us know, who do you think is going to win this year's running of the Monaco Grand Prix? And like I said, the big surprise all weekend has has been Ferrari running fast all weekend. I'll be honest with you, I did not expect to see Ferrari running this well and taking pole position. On top of that, Lando Norris, Pierre Gasly rounded out the top six. Sebastian Vettel, really great run for him in eighth. Sergio Perez and Antonio Giovinazzi in 10th. What can be done for these drivers to maximize their start? Like I said, overtaking is very, very difficult on these tight streets of Monte Carlo.
One thing you're going to have is a really good pit stop strategy if you're going to win from fourth on back. As we all know, Monaco is a very narrow street circuit and not a lot of room to pass. So if you want my opinion, you're going to have a really good pit stop strategy coming from the back in order to win tomorrow.
That pit stop strategy is the big key. We've seen how you could hold a lead with really old tires and get the win just for having that track position. Max Verstappen could not get around Lewis Hamilton in a race at Monaco for the win, even though Lewis was on much older tires. So definitely the pit strategy is going to be the big thing. The other thing got to be mindful of, in case it's going to be an issue, is the weather. Today we saw some big heavy clouds, rain chances. Looks like about 30%. Of course, that means 70% it won't happen, but you just don't know when it comes to motorsports. Anything can happen. And of course, just timing the stop right will be perfect. And the other thing, as we saw, taking advantage of the safety car. Just about every race this year had a safety car period. If you know there's a safety car possibly coming, try to time your stop a little bit before, maximize so when everyone else is caught up behind that safety car and they have to make pit stops or they've done pit stops, you're ahead. Those are some of the big things too, especially if you're in the midfield.
Yes, those are definitely important points there, and I do think that the drivers are going to need to have a lot of luck on their hands. You mentioned how anything can happen. When I was covering the Formula 2 sprint race number 2, very very early this morning, I believe it was like 2:30 a.m. on the East Coast, that it had rained overnight in Monaco, and they started on a damp track and then ended up in mixed conditions. So I believe if something like that were to happen, those could benefit drivers further back in the field. Or let's say you come in pit and then a safety car comes out and then you're able to get out front in front of everyone else who has to come in pit. Then with it being so hard to overtake, you can maximize and take that to your advantage. So definitely, I believe that those drivers who start deeper in the field, it's going to be really hard for them to get to the front, and they'll definitely need a lot of luck on their hand or a race of attrition. And Monaco is not exactly the most competitive race on the schedule when we're talking about crown jewel events. No, Monaco Grand Prix has had more than 7 lead changes on the race in the last 2 races. Unfortunately, 0 lead changes, so a big goose egg. And the tradition of the Monaco Grand Prix is honestly what I go, and the glamour and the prestige is the main reason Formula One returns to each year. It's a great race that you have. I mean, this is one of the greatest spectacles in all of motorsports because of the history, the beautiful scenes. You see celebrities there every single year. I've seen Tom Brady, the star, NFL legend there, and a lot of other athletes as well, like Odell Beckham. I could literally like name a whole bunch of celebrities and athletes who have been to the Monaco Grand Prix. So it's definitely a special event. And Formula E most recently ran the entire course, and we saw 6 lead changes on the track and a lot of close competition. Is this something Formula One needs to address, especially for the new fans coming in? What about a potential throwback race? McLaren's running throwback liveries this weekend.
One of the things when it comes to Monaco, we usually see the teams do special livery, special stunts. One of the more infamous special stunts, of course, was when Jaguar had that big diamond in the front of the car crash, and the diamond has never been found. Somebody has it. One of the big things with Monaco as well, I feel it is that history, the unique history of the racetrack, which essentially is a city. Formula One being there, and of course, all the celebrities that go there. If there was to be a throwback race weekend, I don't think an official throwback race weekend should be at Monaco, just because Monaco there's already a lot of attention because of the celebrities, the history, the fame, attention, and the tradition. But a throwback race, I think, would be great, especially on a track where maybe somewhere like United States, or one of the European rounds where we don't get that huge enthusiasm like Monaco, Silverstone, but definitely something to just draw a little bit more fans and that opportunity of having discussions of past race teams and liveries.
When it comes to the Monaco Grand Prix, for me, it's like when you think about really big races across the world, think of the the Daytona 500, Indy 500, U.S. Nationals for the NHRA, and the Bathurst 1000 for the Repco Supercar Championship. The Monaco Grand Prix has had a lot of history going back to the days when you have people like Jackie Stewart, Jackie Ickx, Gilles Villeneuve compete there, and so many legends have won this race. Ayrton Senna, Alan Prost, and overall, I mean, you see some of the biggest celebrities there at this race. Don't forget you have Prince Rainier and as well. Regarding a throwback race, I think it would be cool to see. Maybe not here in Monaco, but sometime at a Formula One race. It would be really cool to see some of the schemes that used to compete in the series come back and maybe bring some new fans with it as well.
Yes, for me, I think it would be really fun if we saw something like what we see with the NASCAR throwback race at Darlington each year, where all the teams will throw it back to liveries from the past and maybe have fun with it, like we see with the NASCAR drivers, where they'll grow out their mustache and they'll have the Richard Petty going from back in the day, or like Jimmy Johnson did his last throwback race when he had the Dale Earnhardt Sr. sunglasses and the Richard Petty hat, just a copy of what their predecessors did back in the day. I think that would add a whole new element to the Monaco Grand Prix, honoring all of its history and something extra, something fun, considering that the untracked product isn't exactly the best at this track. But nevertheless, Monaco Grand Prix will always be one of the crown jewel events in the world of motorsports.
One of the crown jewel events, and of course, part of the Triple Crown. For any fans not familiar with what is racing's Triple Crown, you win the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the Indianapolis 500, and the Monaco Grand Prix. You have the Triple Crown. Only Grant Hill has done that so far. Fernando Alonso, he just needs that Indy 500 win. And Juan Pablo Montoya could do that if he wins the 24 Hours of Le Mans. One of the big things we're going to be talking about, who's going to win the first race at Circuit of America for the NASCAR Cup Series, the second road course of the year. And for the first time in a long time, we're not at the Daytona road course, the Charlotte Roval, Sonoma, or Watkins Glen. We're in a brand new purpose-built road course. Circuits of America in Austin, Texas is hosting all three national series in NASCAR. NASCAR Cup Series is the fifth major motorsport series to race at Circuits of America, joining Formula One, Australian Supercars, MotoGP, and IndyCar. And listen to the name of the drivers that have won here. Here are just some of the names. Colton Herta from IndyCar, Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Räikkönen, Jamie Whincup from the Supercar Series, and Marc Marquez from MotoGP. What the big things with all these drivers, not counting Colton Herta, he doesn't have a championship yet, but all the other drivers, when you combine those five drivers, they have won 26 world championships total. Does this add more incentive to be the first NASCAR Cup Series driver to win at Texas Circuits of America? And will a past champion be the winner?
Oh yes, definitely. Look at all of the drivers you just named, all those champions: Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, Whincup, Marquez, and Kimi Räikkönen, all of the success he's had in Formula One, and Colton Herta, who I'm sure will be a future champion in the IndyCar series at some point in his career. There's a lot of great names who have raced at Circuit of the Americas in its short history, and now NASCAR is going there. We've seen supercars race there. Formula One, IndyCar, IMSA, the World Endurance Championship, MotoGP, all of the marquee racing series in the world. Now the NASCAR Cup Series is going to go there. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of drivers out there who want to win that very first event. But I'm not going to tip off my pick a winner for later in the program. But I think the race winner will not be a past champion.
When it comes to NASCAR racing at Circuit of the Americas, this is pretty cool overall for the motorsports industry. We just said some of the greatest drivers that have won here: Jamie Whincup, Sebastian Vettel, Marc Marquez, Lewis Hamilton, Colton Herta. I believe that a past champion will win tomorrow, and whoever wins the Cup race, they can say they've joined that elite list of winners at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas.
And one of the interesting things in that list of winners, Lewis Hamilton, Marc Marquez, of course, both of them grid ranking world champions. So it's a very elite list of winners that have won at Circuits of America. Definitely it's going to be a really exciting race. And I think this really elevates Circuits of America. To have this list of drivers that have won at that racetrack at events held, to me, Circuits of America should be getting up there when it comes to notable racetracks in the United States. Not at the level of Indianapolis or Daytona yet, but definitely I think it's starting to get up there when it's talking about what are some of the toughest tracks to win. Because when you see the list of those drivers that won there, clearly the very best of the best in each discipline could go out there and win. Total, we have 7 past NASCAR Cup champions racing this weekend. And of course, the defending champion, Chase Elliott, he is winless so far. But a lot of people are anticipating him to get that win this year. He was part of Hendrick Motorsports' top 4 domination run at Dover. And of course, he has been Mr. Road Course as of late. Looked really strong at the Daytona Road Course. Started up front, but then bad luck towards the end, a late spin. That cost him the race. Well, here's the big thing. We're not starting based off last week's race results. We're starting after qualifying, which will be tomorrow morning. What surprises could we see in qualifying? And do you see Chase Elliott starting up front in the top 10 this weekend?
Yes, I believe you will see Chase Elliott start in the top 10 for qualifying for tomorrow. Regarding surprises, there's a lot of road course ringers, competing. Maybe Boris Said, who's competed all over the world, could win the pole. Could we see somebody like James Davison win the iRacing event on Wednesday, start on the pole? Sure. Could we see someone we didn't expect to have at least a top 10 finish? Yes. Could we see a surprise winner? Yes, we could. It's going to be raining tomorrow, and that basically levels out the playing field. Overall, I won't say who my pick a winner is yet, but I'll just give a little hint to the viewers. It's somebody that is a past NASCAR champion.
Yes, I do expect to see Chase Elliott qualify in the top 10. I also think, I agree with you as well, Adam, that we could see some surprises as well, because you brought up a good point about the weather. I know I'll talk a little bit more in detail about that in a little bit, but there's a potential we could be qualifying in the rain. The Truck Series and the Xfinity Series just finished up a little while ago, and they had qualifying sessions in wet weather conditions, and the only NASCAR Cup Series practice this weekend was run in the wet. So definitely we could be looking at a weekend full of rain racing at Circuit of the Americas.
Circuits of America, I think it's going to be a really entertaining race weekend. One of the big things, of course, with qualifying, I see this where there could be potential surprises, especially with some of those road course racers that are coming in. We have 40 drivers entered for the race. Of course, Last few races we've had 36, 37, 38, but now we're going to have a full field of 40, and that's going to be really entertaining to see 40 racers racing up that hill trying to get the lead on the first lap. Now, of course, Fox has been marketing this as the greatest season ever. We've heard that from before the Daytona 500 and pretty much throughout all promotions for this year's NASCAR season. Maybe mixed feelings after the Bristol Dirt race this year. Didn't exactly deliver as a lot of people had intended it would. And so far, only one driver outside of Rick Hendrick, Joe Gibbs, and Team Penske has won a race. Do you anticipate this race weekend to have surprise leaders? Or again, are we going to see the big three dominate?
Well, I don't know about surprise leaders, but I expect the race to be really wild, Joe. Especially like I just mentioned, we could have some weather playing a factor in the racing this weekend. Looking at the forecast, there's about a 79 to 80% chance of rain around 1:30 p.m. Central Time tomorrow, when the race is expected to get going a little bit after that time. And if we have wet weather conditions, that could definitely shake up the running order. We could see drivers that are not typically running at the front leading the race. And I know when it comes to road course racing in the rain, NASCAR drivers don't have a lot of laps, a lot of experience doing that. So we could definitely see a lot of drivers making mistakes. And if it's heavy rain, oh boy, we could be in for a doozy and a major upset brewing. And when you add rain to the race, I think it's just a recipe for something that could be extremely wild and unpredictable. And I do encourage everyone to please keep up with the weather in Austin, Texas, because we could be in for quite a crazy rain race if everything materializes.
I gotta agree with you, Kobe. You know, we could see a very surprising winner tomorrow regarding, racing in the rain. It's like, you could sort of say it's a level playing field, because NASCAR really hasn't raced a lot in the rain, even though there are some road course ringers that have come in who have raced in the rain. But so overall, could we see a surprise win tomorrow? Oh yeah, we sure could.
We definitely can see a surprise winner, especially with that rain forecast. I mean, over 70% of chance of rain. That's really going to change everything. And of course, strategy and everything. Qualifying the rain, that I think could be really interesting to see who's up front, who's towards the back. I do think Chase Elliott will be a favorite. I could see him easily in the top 10. But of course, especially if we have rain, caution flags, read caution flags. If we have a green and white checkered situation, I can only see a green and white checker flag situation, and we're probably going to have a mess up at turn one on top of the hill. I think that's going to definitely happen if we have that kind of situation. And of course, the race is going to be 2:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, 1 hour earlier than the usual 3 p.m., 3:30 start time. But definitely don't miss that. And of course, at 11:30 a.m. qualifying, one of the few races with qualifying this year. So definitely don't miss a full day of racing tomorrow with F1 Monaco Grand Prix Cup qualifying, and then the Cup race, and going on today and wrapping up tomorrow, World Rally Championship.
Yes, World Rally Championship back in action this weekend at Rally Portugal, which is back on the calendar this year. WRC has been visiting this particular rally for a long time, and it's been a while since we've seen a repeat winner in this event. 5 years, 5 different winners. Tonic, Thierry Neuville, and Sebastian Ogier are all trying to end the streak. Everyone else trying to make it 6 different winners. Coming into today, Tonic is leading the field, and he's still leading with 12 stages down. Joe, are you surprised by Sebastian Ogier that he's only running 5th after day 1 and today?
I wouldn't say I'm exactly surprised. It's been a while since he won here, and we know Tonic really good, especially in the gravel rounds. This is the first gravel round of the year. So essentially now World Rally Champions done everything from tarmac, gravel, and of course the snow with the Arctic Rally earlier this year. He's overall been consistent, and so far, as of right now, they're in the 13th stage. He's looking to possibly be in 4th place. So It's not exactly over yet, but odd tonic, unless we have something where, just like what we saw happen to Kali Roncampera, goes off the track, it's done for the day. I think it looks like Odd's going to probably take this win.
A five-time winner at Rally Portugal, but Hyundai and Tonic are putting the pressure on. If Ogier wins this rally, he could surpass Shane Van Gisbergen from the Repco Supercars Championship for the grid ranking lead. If Tonic wins, he'll equal Sebastian Ogier this year with 2 wins apiece. Is World Rally Championship shaping up to be just as close as Formula One's battle between Sir Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen?
I do believe so. Tonic and Sebastian Ogier are two of the great drivers in World Rally competition right now. As the season continues, you're going to have a lot more. As the season continues, you could see those two competing for round wins. And I believe the champion will either be Sebastian Ogier or Tonic.
When it comes to that championship battle, I do think those are the 2 favorite as well. And overall, this season is shaping up to be very close between those 2. Everyone's looking at Verstappen, Sir Lewis Hamilton. I'll be watching this. Tonic, Ogier. Ogier, multiple championships. Tonic got a championship 2 seasons ago. Wants to get another one, especially now that he is with Hyundai. Of course, Hyundai trying to beat Toyota Gazoo Racing. This has all the potentials to be really exciting WRC season, and of course, very exciting to see what happens with Rally Portugal, who's going to take the win tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow, be sure to tune into Grid Live Wrap-Up for a full rundown of Indy 500, the starting lineup, NASCAR Cup Series, Formula One Monaco Grand Prix, and World Rally Championship Portugal round. And of course, today, Trucks Xfinity's doubleheader. It's probably going to be a very wet doubleheader. Shortly after 1 p.m. Eastern, coverage of the Truck Series Toyota Tundra 225 gets underway on Fox Sports 1. Then the Xfinity Series Pit Boss 250 at 4 p.m. Eastern, also on Fox Sports 1. Both series had a pair of qualifying sessions earlier this morning, and of course, with the rain, tough practice in both qualifying sessions on the wet tracks. And since it is a road course, they do have the rain tires. Tyler Ankrum took the pole early this morning for the trucks. Kaz Grala lining up alongside him in the front row. And then Kyle Busch on the pole for the Xfinity race. Ross Chastain replacing Joe Graff Jr. is going to be second alongside him. And the big surprise that got a lot of people talking, Cole Custer third in a Rick Ware entered car. Definitely, as we talked about in the Cup Series, weather is a big equalizer. So it's definitely going to be a really exciting day of racing today. And with that high percentage chance of rain tomorrow, should be just as exciting tomorrow as well. But one of the things where there is no equalizer is just the fastest 33, Indy 500.
Yes, today is a huge day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Day 1 of qualifying with absolutely everything on the line. And if you're a full season competitor, your season could be on the line this weekend if you have a bad day. By the end of the day, we'll have drivers locked into a Fast 9 shootout tomorrow to see who'll win the pole for the 105th Indy 500. Also, we'll know the drivers who probably will not sleep at all tonight if they can't lock themselves into the race itself today. Tomorrow, what everybody's looking forward to, the last row shootout, bump day at Indy. It's going to be intense seeing the 2 drivers who will get bumped from the field of 33. Adam, Joe, what makes the Indy 500 qualifying session so unique, unlike anything else we see in any other discipline of auto racing?
What makes it unique is you don't have qualifying races like you do for the Daytona 500. It's for me, I like it. It's a fan favorite every year, and overall, it's a day in motorsports that a lot of fans like myself look forward to every year. I like this format, and maybe one and overall, it's really cool for the fans.
One of the bigger things, it is the fastest 33, nobody is guaranteed to start at the Indianapolis 500. A couple of years ago, we saw Fernando Alonso, McLaren, get knocked down by a team that had hardly run any races, Junko Racing, with the IndyCar series. We've seen in the past how even Team Penske missed the Indy 500 in 1995 after winning it the year before at East. It is something where the Indianapolis 500, it is the fastest 33. And we just got an example of that today when Mick Schumacher, hard crash at Monaco, didn't qualify, but he's still in the race because 20 vehicles are locked in the race as long as you're within the 100%, the 107% rule. NASCAR, those charter teams, 36 drivers, they are guaranteed. It's just the remaining 37th through 40th that are not locked in. But even then, if you're high enough in the points, you're locked in. This race, it is the fastest 33. Doesn't matter if you're a Formula One world champion, an Indy 500 past champion, a rookie, no guarantees. It just makes it for a very entertaining race, a very entertaining qualifying as well. We have 35 drivers. We know we're going to have a couple drivers going home very disappointed.
Yes, Indy 500 qualifying, especially bump day, is personally one of my favorite days of the year for motorsports. And it's so unique because literally nobody is locked in. Anyone can go home, whether you're a six-time champion of the series like Scott Dixon, or you're the championship points leader also, who is Scott Dixon at the moment. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're Team Penske, Ganassi, Andretti. If you cannot lock it into the field of 33, you're out. Imagine if Scott Dixon had a crash in qualifying, then get to set a time, and then tried to come back when they rebuilt the car and it wasn't quick enough, and then he ends up getting bumped from the field. For Scott Dixon, there would not be any provisional to save you at all. You would be out unless you tried to buy out a ride. Look what happened to James Hinchcliffe several years ago. He was driving for what is now the Air McLaren SP team. Everybody expected James Hinchcliffe to be locked into the field, and when James Hinchcliffe was trying to set a time towards the very end of that qualifying session that year to try to get into the race, wasn't fast enough, didn't make it in the field of 33, got bumped from the field. People thought he might try to buy out somebody else's ride. It didn't happen. James just accepted defeat and moved on to the next weekend at Belle Isle. So sometimes bump day, you can see a lot of shockers, and one of the biggest shocks we've seen in recent years, David versus Goliath, the underdog team, Junko's Racing, Kyle Kaiser at number 32 Chevrolet bumped McLaren Racing and Fernando Alonso from the Indy 500 field, and that was definitely one of the biggest shocks of the year that year in motorsports. And all week long, Adam Lemmeries and I have been providing special coverage on Grid Network, YouTube, following all the action at IMS. Once again, Honda seems to be the favorite for pole position, which we highlighted on yesterday's show, and Honda were the favorites last year as well. And Adam and I decided to make a prediction for the pole winner. Both of us went with Alexander Rossi from Andretti Autosport. And Joe, since you weren't with us, we're going to give you a chance to see who you think is going to win the pole. So who are you picking?
Right now, I'm going to go with Alex Palou. Right now, we're seeing Scott Dixon has laid down a fast lap. I see Alex Palou. He is going to be qualifying much later in the day, as long as conditions doesn't get worse. Traditionally, the track, you go out early in qualifying, you're the first one down, you got the worst track conditions. You're the last one out there, you have the best track conditions, as long as we don't see excessive heat come in or strong winds or, of course, worse, rain. You got to wait another day. But definitely, I think if everything holds, I think Alex Palou in the Honda, he's going to be your pole sitter.
Oh yeah, definitely. Alex Palou is another great pick. All those Chip Ganassi racing Hondas were really fast in practice. Dixon, Palou, Tony Kanaan, Marcus Ericsson, who had the best 4-lap average yesterday. I think pole position is either going to come from Chip Ganassi racer or Andretti Autosport. Those Hondas are definitely really fast, clicking on all cylinders, and they definitely have a great setup heading into qualifying. And we definitely encourage you to check out our special edition of Grid Tonight from yesterday, reacting to Fast Friday with a lot more detailed preview of today's qualifying session. Joe, you did mention Scott Dixon had the fastest 4-lap average right now as we speak. We don't really have a lot of cars on the board right now. Only have 7 with official times. Tony Kanaan is currently on track qualifying. Dixon had the fastest 4-lap average at 231 miles per hour, to be exact, 231.8 828 miles per hour. Then you have Helio Castroneves, Ryan Hunter-Reay, James Hinchcliffe, Ed Jones, Stephen Wilson, and Marco Andretti last in seventh at 229.261 miles per hour. So not a lot of cars on the track yet, but so far it's been all Honda drivers. I'm gonna be really interested to see what's gonna happen when those Chevrolet drivers get on the track, so we can compare to see is Honda really gonna be the true is going to be the true top dog. And as I'm speaking, Tony Kanaan in the number 48 Chip Ganassi Racing Honda has gone to the top of the board. Oh my goodness, 232 miles per hour, 232.348 miles per hour. Exactly. Wow, Chip Ganassi Racing is truly on it today. And now going to be looking at Alex Palou later in the day, and also Marcus Ericsson, see if Chip Ganassi Racing can potentially go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we all know Chip Ganassi really likes winners, and he'll be happy if he's on the pole or has cars on the front row for the Indy 500. And definitely be sure to tune in to Grit Live Wrap Up tomorrow. We'll be sure to discuss everything that happened in qualifying today, from pole position, the front row, Fast 9 shootout, the last row shootout, and who gets bumped from the field. And over at Monaco, we wanted to give a special shout out to the winners in Formula 2. The sprint race went to Guan Yu Zhou. Double podium finish, no pun intended, for the UNI Virtuosi squad, with teammate Felipe Drukovic in second, and Royce Nissany earning his first career podium in third. However, sprint race 2, there was a disaster for Joe and Drukovic as they tried switching over to slick tires on a damp track and lost time in mixed conditions. It was a huge gamble that ultimately doomed their race. Red Bull Junior driver Liam Lawson made a bold move on Oscar Piastri in the final corner early in the race, took the lead, never looked back, en route to a dominant victory over Dan Ticktum and Piastri. However, Liam Lawson fell post-race inspection due to a technical violation, handing the race victory over to Dan Ticktum from Carlin Racing, and Piastri was promoted to second and Yuri Vips to third. And just a little while ago, the final Formula 2 race of the weekend, the feature race, just wrapped up in that race victory with the Theo Pourchaire. So definitely a lot of action this weekend in Monaco, with 3 FIA Formula 2 races and 3 race winners.
A lot of action going on, and still a lot of action going on at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It looks like Tony Kanaan is starting to slow down a bit. He might not be 100% on the pole. Definitely will give you an update right after Pick a Winner. Several people correctly guessed winners last race weekend. We have 9 on the leaderboard. Be sure to participate. Your pick, they win a race, that's a point. So you got a little ways to catch up to the leader like Matt. But if you get a weekend sweep, that's 3 points this race weekend. And of course, we got a lot of races, and we will include Formula 1, Formula E, IndyCar, and MotoGP. Going in reverse order from lowest in the standing to the highest, starting with Formula 1, the Monaco Grand Prix. Kobe, who do you see winning the race?
This might come to a surprise to all of our viewers. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Max Verstappen and that Red Bull, and Lewis Hamilton likely too far back to win. But I think it's going to be a win for Ferrari, the Forza Ferrari. Charles Leclerc, the bad luck is going to end at Monaco, and he's going to win the Monaco Grand Prix.
That's a good pick, Kobe. But I'm going to have to go with the driver you just talked about. I'm going to have to go with Max Verstappen. He's starting in the top 3. It's very hard to pass it on the streets of Monte Carlo. And if he wins, he will be, I believe it'll put a lot of pressure on Lewis Hamilton.
I'm going to go with somebody else. I'm going with Valtteri Bottas. He is going to be 3rd. So if he gets that good start and Leclerc gets a good start, Verstappen is going to have a hard time trying to get into that inside line, entering the first corner. I see the strategy is going to be a big benefit for Bottas. They have the fastest car. As soon as the Ferrari makes that pit stop, he's going to lay down some fast laps, get that win, and hold off Max Verstappen. But the big thing, Valtteri Bottas is going to win. He needs to have a good start. So does Charles Leclerc. So that way Verstappen cannot get on that inside lane. NASCAR, Circuits of America, Cup Series, potentially wet weather. Kobe, who do you see winning that?
Well, I'm gonna go with the driver who already won an inaugural NASCAR event on a road course. It was a wild day at the Charlotte Roval. I was there myself, on site in the pits watching the race, and I do think it's gonna be the driver to number 12 Ford Mustang from Team Penske. Ryan Blaney's he took the very first race of the Charlotte Roval, and he's gonna win NASCAR's first stop at Circuit of the Americas as well.
I said earlier that my pick would be a NASCAR. I said earlier that my pick would be a past NASCAR Cup Series champion. So I'm going with Chase Elliott. I believe after everything that's gone on this year, even though they're racing in the rain at Circuit of the Americas, I believe he has won on road courses before. So you're going to have to beat Chase Elliott tomorrow, and it'll be back-to-back wins for Hendrick Motorsports.
Those are two great picks. My pick is going to be the driver that took the pole today for the Xfinity Series, Kyle Busch. We got qualifying. I think Kyle Busch, he might have learned something, especially under wet conditions, to get that pole. No reason the Toyotas won't be up front, and I think he could really dominate this race. Survive potential yellow flags, the restarts, that's the big key, but I think Kyle Busch could put down a great effort and take the win in the Echo Park Texas Grand Prix race weekend. And that's going to wrap up the pick a winner part. Of course, we've seen some folks, including Damus, he thinks Charles Leclerc and Denny Hamlin at Circuits of America. So another person going with a Toyota driver, and we encourage everyone in the chat room to participate, or definitely use the hashtag pick a winner on Twitter to share your picks. And an update on Indy 500 qualifying. Tony Kanaan has completed his 4 laps, but the average speed dropped. So right now you got on the potential front row Scott Dixon, Tony Kanaan, Haley Castro-Neves, potential second row Ryan Hunter-Reay, James Hinchcliffe, Ed Jones, and potential third row Newgarden, Stefan Wilson, and Marco Andretti with the slowest time so far. Those are all the drivers that have qualified so far for the Indianapolis 500.
Yes, also pointing out Joseph Newgarden there, 7th out of 9 cars, the only Chevrolet driver to make a time so far. Yet yesterday, Adam and I were talking about Team Penske's form. Team Penske did not look competitive at all on Fast Friday. Joseph Newgarden, I believe he was when looking at the no-toe speeds, he was 17th. McLaughlin was 20th, and then the other Penske drivers like Pagenaud down in 26th, the affiliate. Peretta Autosport, Simona Di Silvestro in 30th, and Will Power in the danger zone, 32nd fastest, no toe. So it's going to be interesting watching today to see if Team Penske found something overnight so they can sleep easier tonight. I think Team Penske is going to make the show. I think all of their cars are going to make the show and be fine, but they'll definitely want to have a little more room for comfort to ensure that all Team Penske Chevrolets get into the 105th running of the Indianapolis 500. And be sure to like and subscribe to Grid Network here on YouTube. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and support us by investing in Grid Network through Patreon. Really appreciate Colin, Mark, and D-Shell, our 2 new Patreon supporters, for jumping on board. Really glad to have you here. And also special shout out to all of our new subscribers that we've gotten recently. Welcome to Grid Network. Happy to have you a part of the journey here as we continue to build our small business and share our love of motorsports with you. Check out Pablo's. Get something sweet for your furry pal. Grid Network viewers will get a 10% discount for any purchase. And we'll be back on the air tomorrow evening, 90 minutes after the NASCAR Cup Series race at Circuit of the Americas, for a Grid Live wrap-up, recapping all the racing this weekend, including our initial reactions from Indy 500 qualifying, from the pole winner, front row starters, to the drama from the last row shootout on bump day. We'll have it all here at Grid Network. For Joe Samniego and our supercars expert Adam Lemeries, I'm Kobe Lambert from the Podium Finish. Have a great weekend and enjoy the races.
Joe Samniego here. Want to invite you to go check out Pablo's. Pablo's is a dog clothing and accessory company based in Austria. 10% of each of your purchases goes to helping dogs in need, whether it's homeless, sick, or ill dogs. This is one of the reasons why we support it. Kiska here is a rescue dog from rural Alaska and our Grid office dog. We care about our furry buddies, and we know you do as well. Definitely check out Pablos.com There's a link on the video description, and by clicking on that link, you get a 10% discount on your purchase as well.